All right, y'all. So listen, I had to go to work today, but before I went to work, I decided to watch episode 2 of The She-Hulk. Now, I had already seen episode 2 of The She-Hulk last night, but I wanted to watch it twice before I decided to make this video, okay? 99.9% of the time, I am never, ever in the woke category of things, okay? I don't ever think these people are trying to make things woke, okay? It's just not how my brain works. I just don't see shit that way, usually. This show, if it was by itself and it didn't have history, I would say it'd be a fine show, right? If it was a show where the Hulk and She-Hulk were both, starting out and figuring shit out or whatever else, and, the Hulk had history or whatever, and it was very light, that's what this feels like. This doesn't really feel like a show where you have 12 plus years of history to go through, okay? I think her name is Jennifer Walters. It doesn't matter if I like her or not, okay? She literally ignores the superhero world like it doesn't exist. And it's a very strange situation where she's a lawyer and her case even involves superheroes, which then reflects the fact that shit is an everyday part of life in this world. She still somehow seems like she's been completely oblivious to the last, 7 years. Because here's how I look at the MCU, right? You got phase 1, phase 2, which were really kind of just like setup phases, right? Phase 3 was the phase where we really dealt with shit, right? Then you go to phase 4, and phase 4 feels like phase 1, which it shouldn't. Phase 4 should feel like something else, or even the repercussions and ramifications of what they have dealt with in phase 3. But every single MCU show, from Moon Knight, the only one that touched on anything was Captain Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but every single MCU show seems to not really dwell into the shit that has just happened. They let the world get blipped. 5 years, the world gets used to it, they blip back, and everything just happens to be fine and dandy. It just happens to be rainbows and works out now. That's bananas to me. And it even feels like that in this show with Jennifer specifically. She just feels like she has had no repercussions or nobody disappear in her life during the blip. And it just seems like life is so, in the MCU world, life is just so giddy go lucky at any given time. It even gets to a point in this episode, she has to go to a prison to see, I don't want to spoil it, but she has to go to a prison for a client. And we'll get into the spoilers later, but she has to go to prison for a client. And she goes and makes a joke as the dude's telling her she can fucking die. He's like, listen, you can't step beyond this yellow line. You go beyond this yellow line, you're dead. If you fucking try to, think you're going to be reaching out, he's going to kill you. I'm telling you now, you can die from this man. And she's like, is he going to serve me up with some fava beans and a nice Chianti? And then the dude erupts and goes, ma'am, this is a prison. And I'm like, see, in its own show, I wouldn't even be mad at that. But when the world has dealt with so much trauma and it doesn't seem like they deal with any of the trauma themselves, it takes me out of the fucking, it takes me right out of the MCU every time. It's like, So like even in this episode, okay, in the second episode, and we can talk about the first episode as well, but I just kind of want to hark on what I witnessed on the second episode. But in the second episode, like she's She-Hulk now and everything, and the girl's like, she's like, well, you know, you're gonna be an Avenger now. And she's like, the Avengers? She's like, do they even have a pension or a fucking 401k or fucking, she's like, do they even have maternity leave? Do they even get paid? And I'm like,
but you could be an Avenger.
Do the Avengers offer healthcare?
I don't.
Maternity leave, a pension, are they even paid?
Here's the thing though, Hulk Gen is a total snack.
I know you did not just fucking literally throw a fucking serious ass question into a like joking drunk conversation with She-Hulk and her best fucking friend. A lot of the things that are like being hit on now in this phase 4 feel like they should have kind of been dealt with in phase 1. And I'm not even talking about the characters. I'm more talking about like what they're dealing with. You know, Falcon's broke, you know, Hawkeye's dealing with past shit. It's like everything in phase 4 has this weird like haze to it almost, where it doesn't feel very real, or like not real, but it doesn't feel very like it doesn't feel tangible anymore, because there's always just the new stakes at the door. There's never any time to let anything breathe. Bro, my biggest complaint about this She-Hulk show is the episodes are only 22 minutes long. You want to know the synopsis for the new episode of She-Hulk that just happened? I'll give you the synopsis. It starts off, right? She spends a minute and a half talking about what just happened in the last episode. So you're already down basically 2 fucking minutes. Like that, bro. Instantly, you're already down 2 minutes. And then you really only have 3 major segments in this episode. You got Bruce and She-Hulk's conversation. You got She-Hulk with the lawyer conversation. And then you got She-Hulk with her client. Those are like the 3 major scenes. Everything else is like 2 seconds, 2 seconds, 2 seconds, 2 seconds. And then it's like you gotta wrap it up. It's like, bro, if you're gonna make a fucking TV show, at least make it compelling. Don't just make it a TV show where it just ends. And it's like, well, you gotta wait for the next one. It's like you're not even making a fucking TV show at that point. You're just making a long movie and putting like intermissions. You know what I'm saying? That shit's whack. They put like one little nugget at the end, and then it's like that little nugget at the end sucks. I'm just gonna watch it for the sake of watching it, but I'm not like fucking fiending for like The Boys. You know what I mean? Like The Boys had an overarching plot with their newest season, right? And with that overarching plot and like Soldier Boy and everything else, you wanted to see it all the way through from the first episode. This shit, I don't know where it's going. I don't know what kind of show it is. Is it a lawyer show, or is it a fucking hee hee ha ha let's laugh at men show? Because I'm not gonna sugarcoat this shit. I don't ever say shit is woke in my entire this woke. Bro, that ain't me. This fucking show is the definition of that woke shit that they be talking about. I don't care what anyone says. Let me fucking break this shit down, bro. Spoiler time. If you haven't seen this shit, go watch the 2 trash ass episodes. Bro, okay, let's get into this fucking bag. This chick, Jennifer Walters, right? In the first episode, shits all over Hulk, right? And his past, right? By saying that when she's catcalled in the street and when she's working at her job and the other guy is being an asshole because of something he said, and she knows that she can say it better or do it better, she's angry all the time more than Hulk is. She's angry infinitely more than you, or she can control her anger infinitely more than you, right? Whatever, I'm fine with that if that's what you want it to be. But my whole problem with the MCU, again, is just like I said earlier, is there's no fucking real weight to this shit. All Hulk, like, if you fucking knew someone who was like ragging on you and it was your fucking cousin, bro, you're not just gonna let your fucking cousin just dog you and just be like,
Bruce, I'm great at controlling my anger. I do it all the time. When I'm catcalled in the street, when incompetent men explain my own area of expertise to me, I do it pretty much every day, because if I don't, I will get called emotional or difficult, or might just literally get murdered. So I'm an expert at controlling my anger because I do it infinitely more than you.
You would have some rebuttal to the shit you've been through. And the shit that Hulk has been through is way more relatable because we know the motherfucker. We've been there. Even though I don't fucking like Hulk in the MCU, he still has shit that has happened. So don't fucking give me that you control your anger infinitely more than me bullshit.
Dr. Banner, now might be a really good time for you to get angry.
That's my secret, Cap. I'm always angry.
They're just two different fucking people. That's all you need to say. You don't need to be like, I'm better than you in every fucking way. She says that shit in the first episode. And I'm like, all right, this shit is already starting to piss me off in the first episode. Like, she's like already on this like fucking superior shit. And I'm like, whatever, man. Maybe that's just how it's supposed to be. Then we get to the second episode. Let me tell you what happens in the second episode. Let's do a whole breakdown of the whole entire. I'm about to break down these two episodes, okay? Episode 1, fucking very beginning, she is breaking the fourth wall. She tells you, hey, I'm that's right, I'm a Hulk. You're not gonna be able to listen to this very fun lawyer story until you hear about why I turned to Hulk. So here's why I was a fucking Hulk. And then she gives you a fucking backstory. A couple months ago, she went on a fucking ride with Bruce. And Bruce got an inhibitor on his fucking arm that turns him regular human. He's a regular ass human now. And so he's wearing this shit so he doesn't have to be the Hulk anymore or whatever. But his arm's still fucked up. I don't know. Anyways. Out of nowhere, a Sakaar fucking spaceship just jumps right in front of these motherfuckers. And Jin is behind the wheel, just goes, ah, and fucking makes him fly off the cliff. They fly off the cliff. She scratches her hand while she's trying to get out. And Bruce's blood drips into her hand, transforming her into She-Hulk. Now, the next thing that happens, right, is She-Hulk then like runs around like a random person, all fuzzy and shit in the brain. She wakes up like in the middle of the forest or some shit, and she ends up making her way to like this strip club. These stripper girls like end up cleaning her up and like dressing her up and shit because she was fucking dirty, bro. She was dingy. So they end up cleaning her up and all this shit, and she's kind of looking for a way out or a way home or whatever. And then she literally gets catcalled in the fucking streets. As she gets catcalled in the streets by these random dudes, that's when she turns into She-Hulk. She turns into She-Hulk, and she's literally about to punch this fucking dude's lights out. Like, she's like this. And fucking Hulk comes and tackles her, and then fade to black.
Oh, you too good to talk to us.
Then you wake up, and Hulk and her are in this fucking like lab, right? And Hulk's trying to like test her powers and shit. We can skip all of that because I don't really care about all that shit. All that shit I was fine with. I don't care about none of that. All that stuff was cool. Her getting her testing powers, all that shit. Even her beating the Hulk in certain ways. I don't care about any of that. That's fine. I'm cool with that 100%. What I don't appreciate is the dialogue between the characters. No one talks about any of the stakes that have happened in past movies, and it's always very lighthearted. You know what I mean? And in this one, they have an opportunity, because I'll tell you why in the second episode, but I just feel like that argument between Jen and Bruce was very, very shallow. It was like kiddie pool shallow. There's really no depth to be had in this fucking universe. And people will find the craziest lines of dialogue to fall in love with. And I'm like, there's no fucking depth here. They don't talk about anything. No real conversations about anything in this fucking world. So it's like her biggest fucking problem in the last 5 years is being catcalled on the street and a fucking asshole guy at her job who says that he's better than her. While she just said she was better than Bruce. She contradicts herself so much, bro, and I can't stand that shit. So I'm like, I don't even understand that shit to me, though. Like, the dynamic of what the universe has gone through and what these people do or say in their day-to-day is like night and day different. It really is. And that shit takes me out. You know? See, that's why The Boys is so perfect, because the first episode, right? When A-Train does what he does, when what's the name's talking to his girl, they're just having a regular ass conversation. There's nothing crazy involved in that conversation. They're not talking about superheroes. They're not talking about past events that Homelander did. Nothing, right? They're talking about normal, mundane shit. And what happens? Boom, bro. A-Train runs through his girl. Now, that is done not only to start off the show, but it's also done to show you that you can't avoid this shit if it was really here. Somehow, some way, superhero shit is going to affect your day-to-day. And being a lawyer, I mean, I could only imagine. So, to me, because of that, they never really talk about the day-to-day shit. It's always like jokes, like in Far From Home, or when he's like, my husband came back after 5 years and I'm already remarried, or whatever else the fuck. Like, it's like they always do the stupid ass jokes, bro. So basically that episode ends with her going back. Oh, also, no, there's one stupid ass scene though in that first episode. So in the first episode, he takes her to his island. She's been training and shit. But like she's different than the Hulk, bro. Like, she can control her shit better than the Hulk can. He can't understand why or whatever. And she, at one point, she's like, I'm ready to leave. So she like de-transforms. She's like, all right, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get the fuck up out of here. And Hulk's like, I can't let you go. He then stands in front of a Jeep, right? A Jeep. And she's like, I'm gonna get out of here. And she slams on the gas, and it somehow picks up the Hulk's big ass, and fucking she like turns and whips the car, and then he flies off of the car and like into a bunch of rocks.
Yes!
How the fuck can a Jeep move the Hulk? What fucking Jeep this bitch got? That shit literally picked him up. He said, oof. I was like, nigga, you just stood in front of the Jeep because you were gonna stop the Jeep. How the fuck can the Hulk not stop a Jeep? Remember when that big ass fucking flying thing was coming in and fucking Iron Man's like, you better get ready. You better Hulk out. I think it's time for some Hulk out. And he's like, that's the thing about me, Tony. I'm always angry. And then he fucking boom and fucking hit that shit. How the fuck is there a Jeep able to pick up the Hulk and like hold his ass to slide him around? Like, what the fuck kind of... I was like, bro, what the fuck? So at the end of the first episode, what up, Black Rob? At the end of the first episode, bro, it ends with her, like, she's the Hulk. She goes back home, and She-Hulk and Hulk made up. They cool, you know what I mean? It's just, it's just family feuds and shit. So she goes back to the courthouse. She goes to the courthouse, and she's dealing with a case that I think involves superheroes. And like the wife or something, one of the villains breaks through the door, so she has to turn into the She-Hulk. So she transforms into the She-Hulk, and she beats this bitch with one punch. Bam! That bitch goes flying to the wall. She's like dead. Then they play Eve, Who's That Girl? And I'm fucking up in there. La 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 la. Anyways, so that's my favorite part of that first episode. That first episode was trash. We get to the second episode. Now the dumpster fire really begins, bro. I've never said this before. This show is that woke bullshit. It first starts off, right? See, they're like, she saved the day, right? So they're gonna have a party for all her fucking coworkers. They're gonna throw this party because she saved their life and shit. So she goes to this fucking bar. And they're calling her She-Hulk. She's like, She-Hulk? Oh, that's terrible. Oh. I don't like that name. So she transforms into She-Hulk, and they're like rooting for her, fucking cheering and shit. And she's like, fucking She-Hulk. I'm gonna have to be a derivative fucking of him. Oh my god, I hope this name doesn't fucking stick. Ew, it's fucking just man. Ew, the man. And then, bro, like her like lawyer dude or lawyer like boss comes up and is like, hey, like, I'm glad you saved those people, but because you saved those people, basically the other side ruled that the jury would be in favor of you because you saved their fucking lives. And so they did a mistrial or whatever. So we lost the case. And she's like, well, I'm sorry you lost the case, whatever. And she's like, nah, I'm fucking firing you. And she's like, you're fucking firing me? And then fucking, so that's like how it all fucking first starts with the second episode. And then, right, she's like, she's with her friend the next day and they're like looking for jobs or whatever. She's looking for jobs. And this is the part that should have happened in fucking No Way Home, bro. She went to a bunch of different jobs and they're like, you're a fucking liability. Do it. If a villain come and your big ass She-Hulk ass throw one computer down the lane, you're gonna hit Timmy, Tommy, Billy, Jerry, fucking Susie. We can't have all that, bro. We can't hire you. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter about how good you are or whatever else. We can't have you, right? So people are telling her no. She goes to like 5-6 different spots. She's all basically getting no. And now here's where the woke bullshit comes out, okay? She got a text earlier that day that she needed to go to dinner with her family, right? So she goes home to her family. And she has like maybe a little brother and a dad and a mom. And there's somebody else there, I can't remember. The little brother was an asshole, right? Whatever. Little bros be like that, okay? At the end of the dinner, the dad says, hey, Jen, will you come with me? I need you to do some things for me. She walks into the garage, his garage, and she goes, yeah, what'd you need me to do? He goes, I didn't need you to do anything. That was just me to get you alone so I could check up on you. How are you doing, kiddo? Right? You couldn't even fucking guess what happened, bro. Okay? For the next minute and a half to 2 minutes, it's only one person talking. She cuts off her dad at every single second, bro. She's like, well, first I got turned into She-Hulk, and that's not how I wanted it to be. And he's like, well, yeah. And then she just keeps talking. And then he goes, yeah, but, and then she just keeps talking. And he goes, but, yeah. And then she goes, just keeps talking and just keeps talking and just keeps talking. And at the end, she's like, thanks for the talk, Dad. I'm like, okay.
I feel like I'm being punished for doing the right thing. Like, I get fired for saving people, and now I can't get another job because of it.
You didn't tell me.
What are all those years of law school even for?
Whatever, Cool, whatever. Maybe that's how their relationship be. I don't know no dad that would just let her fucking daughter just go off at the fucking handle like that and be like, bitch, shut the fuck. You better let me talk. Huh? You forget what your place is? But anyways, whatever, bro. Let her live her life, bro. So whatever, okay? Whatever, right? One time, I'm fine, okay? Now, she goes to the bar afterwards because she's bummed about, like, not having a job and shit. And then the dude who was against her on the last case, the boss comes up and he's like, I'll hire you for my firm, right? He goes, like, we need somebody for our new firm for these fucking superheroes. He doesn't say superheroes yet. She just says, I'll accept, right? So then she gets to the firm the next morning and they're like, hey, if you want this job, you have to be in She-Hulk form, like as the She-Hulk. Nigga, you have to be the She-Hulk in court and at work. And she's like, now? And he's like, yeah. And she then turns into She-Hulk, and she's like walking through the office, and people are like tripping over shit because they see this big ass green bitch. They're like, oh my God, she's fucking huge, bro. Jesus Christ. Right? Now, out of nowhere, the boss, as he's walking her to her office, is explaining this bitch's job and like what she needs to do and everything, right? He's like talking to her, and she starts talking to us. So this is the second time where I tell you, I don't normally see shit like this, but this is the second time in the episode where she literally just talks over the man, right? First time it was her dad, whatever kind of relationship they have. Second time, she's talking over the fucking boss of her new firm to talk to us, which is ironic as shit because that motherfucker just made you, the man, just made you turn into fucking something you didn't even want to be. Whatever, bro. Maybe that's where the show's going, right? I don't know yet, right? We're only 2 episodes in. Fine, right? So she gets to her office, she gets her own shit, she gets everything going, and later on, the boss tells her that she needs to represent Emil Blonsky, which is the Abomination. And obviously the Hulk, the OG Hulk, and Abomination have, you know, some beef or whatever. And she's like, I can't represent him because of my cousin. And Emil Blonsky has signed a waiver or whatever, and he's like, he just wants peace, bro. He don't even want no beef with nobody no more. So she goes and visits him, right, in a prison. And you know, she talks to him, and he says that he's reformed, he's a changed man, and blah 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 blah. Bunch of shit that don't matter right now. The fucking point is, she gets home, right, and she calls the Hulk, right? Hulk's like, hey, hello. He goes, hello, right? She calls the Hulk, and then guess what happens again? Guess what happens again? She talks over this nigga, bro. I've never seen this before. She's like, I called to ask you that, or, you know, to find out if you're okay with me representing Emil Blonsky, the Abomination, because I know you guys had your thing and blah 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 blah. And he's like, he's trying to get in a word, bro. He's just trying to get in a fucking word. And she just keeps talking and talking and talking, bro. She never lets up. And at the very end, he's like, it sounds like you're gonna take the case anyway. She's like, yeah, I was gonna take the case anyway.
Okay, I mean, it doesn't seem like you hold a grudge. At least you've never talked about that before. And you're always saying that, you know, everybody deserves a second chance. And I'm not falling for an act here, but Blonsky did seem to have really good arguments, you know? He was so compelling, and maybe I want to believe that he's reformed. Well, sure, you know, isn't rehabilitation something that we should strive for as a society?
That's what you'd
But
hope
none
for.
of that matters if you don't feel comfortable with it.
I think you're calling me to tell me you're taking the job.
I'm calling you to tell you I'm taking the job, yes.
What are we doing? What? We only have 22 minutes here. It's not, we don't have an hour. This is not a long show. We have 22 minutes. So in this show, right? In this episode, we had 3 conversations she had with herself. Well, 2 conversations with herself and 1 with us. Because she talks to the 4th wall. She literally breaks the wall and looks at camera. I turned into the Hulk yesterday. Had her mind up before she even got on the phone. Right. Like, we only have 22 minutes here, bro. And every waking moment of this show has felt like it's been wasting fucking time. And every single conversation in the show feels like it's some fucking, just some shallow kiddie pool fucking just splashing in the little baby pool water. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, oh my God, bro. I was like so disappointed, man. I couldn't believe it at first. Like, I rewatched this episode this morning. I've seen this episode twice, episode 2. I've seen episode 1 and episode 2 twice now, just to make sure I'm not like tripping. Bro, at any chance they can. Oh, wait, we didn't even finish talking about this woke shit. Bro, she has a fucking, bro, it's 2022 in the MCU, right? It's normal time in the MCU. She has a fucking misogynistic, fucking crazy, womanizing ass fucking lawyer co-worker at her job, bro. And like, bro, this nigga at the first episode, he's like, you sure you don't want me to take your fucking, you sure you don't want me to take that speech? I don't think they're gonna be believing it from you. Like basically saying like, you're a fucking woman and I don't think they're gonna be believing it from you. Bro.
I feel like this is gonna land better coming from me. Look, we got plenty of time to switch things up and let me do the closing.
And then like she's at a party with this nigga and she like has conversations with this nigga and he's like,
there's a hot chick over there. I'm gonna go talk to it.
I'm gonna go talk to it. Nigga, who you know talk like that? Who you know talk like that, bro? Who you know talk like that? Nobody talks like that. He's like drinking a beer. He's like, oh, look at that hot chick over there. I'm gonna go talk to it. What the fuck? Bro. Nah, see, this show, I'm telling you, I never ever said this. That's what I'm saying. That sounds super disrespectful. I'm like, I've never, and that's what I'm saying is like, that's some woke shit. That's like her like being about the man. Like, I'm gonna write this fucking character for this dude. He's gonna be a fucking complete dick. He's just gonna fucking be a womanizing ass asshole. And it's like, god damn, bro. Like, if that nigga's, you're a lawyer. Huh? He works with you. And you are a lawyer. I don't understand how this nigga still has a job. It takes 2 seconds. 2 seconds to talk to HR. HR would have been down that boy's throat. Come on, bro. 2 fucking seconds to talk to HR. HR would have been, they would have emailed that motherfucker like, we gotta talk. We gotta have a real conversation today. Like, we cannot, bro. We cannot. I don't think I've ever said this shit in the history of me living, bro. This show is fucking that woke shit, man. Listen, I'm telling you, I don't ever drop that shit in my life, bro. But I've seen in 44 minutes, I've seen 9. No, okay, let's count all of the shitting on man situations in this fucking show, right? At the very beginning, right? She gets catcalled right after she turns into She-Hulk and she's like wearing some like clothes or whatever and she's like trying to leave and then she turns She-Hulk. So you got one situation, shitty men, right? Okay, shitty men. When she's giving her speech at the very beginning, she has the shitty man in her fucking office listening to the speech that she's preparing to give to court.
I feel like this is gonna land better coming from me. Look, we got plenty of time to switch things up and let me do the closing.
We got shitty situation number 2. Shitty situation number 3. When she's fucking with Bruce, after she turns into She-Hulk, she's just claiming she's already better than Bruce.
I was able to use it to completely heal my arm.
Oh, because I'm better than you?
This nigga brought back fucking half the universe with his fucking right arm. What are you saying? Again, fuck you. Dumb shit. Then we got, like I said, we got those 3 fucking interrupts. So you got the dad being interrupted, you got the boss being interrupted, then you got the Hulk being interrupted. What are we at? 7 right now, right? You got the fucking bar situation, the I'm gonna go talk to it. Let me see. Oh, bro. As she's walking by, right? She's like, this is so unfair. She's like talking to us, right? She's like, this is so unfair. They're gonna think that I don't even deserve this fucking job because I'm the She-Hulk and they wanted the She-Hulk, not Jennifer Walters. And then she walks past a fucking boardroom of all men laughing. They're like, ha 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 ha, a bunch of old white men laughing. Ha 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 ha. And she's like, I bet you they never had to be no fucking She-Hulk. Bro.
These dodos never had to deal with this on their first day at work.
So what are we at? We're at like 9 or 10 different situations in 2 episodes where men are just shit, not worthy of fucking your time. Look at these fucking evil men in the room laughing as this lady has to become a green monster. I'm like, bro, like I can't make this shit up, bro. Every situation I just said is so fucking real in this show. Like all those situations happen. And it's like either that's gonna go somewhere or it's not gonna go somewhere. But I can't get with that fucking program of you're just like dogging all men and then you have these surface level conversations about everything in the MCU. She hasn't talked about like her friends being blipped or no real shit. And I'm like, okay, like I guess we're just done with that shit. Them motherfuckers got over the blip so fast, like that, bro. Falcon and Winter Soldier talked about the blip. After that, it's been like blipless. You had a little bit in WandaVision. Besides that, these motherfuckers don't talk about that shit no more, bro. It's like a thing of the past already. Like, that's crazy. That would be the biggest thing for the next fucking 100 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a literal game changer, but they never talk about this shit. So, like, that's the shit that's been killing me with this show. Right now, I give this shit a 2 out of 10. I'm gonna give this shit a 2 out of fucking 10 right now, bro. Until they change some shit up. Maybe, who knows? Maybe episode 3, 4, 5, 6, I end up loving. And if I do, I'll come back and tell you motherfuckers. But right now, that shit is a fucking 2, bro. 2 out of fucking 10. Fuck you and your fucking woke bullshit. I don't even say that shit. That shit is woke bullshit. Unless you can somehow prove me wrong. Fuck that shit. 2 out of 10. And that's it for the video. See y'all on the next one. Peace.